Hi students. I just wanted to make this video to give you a few more pointers about Essay 3 and let you know about some additional resources that are available to you as you work on it. First of all, I found this great Khan Academy video on how to cite evidence in literary analysis. And so I just wanted to show you, it's right here. The link to it is right here on the same page where your Essay 3 written assignment is. You might want to check that out. It's like 5 minutes and it's just a really good explanation of how to use evidence in literary analysis. Also, make sure that you watch the first video I made, the video explanation of the Essay 3 assignment, super important. If you go to the very next page in the module, I put links to discussions of some of the poems you might write about for Essay 3. You guys did a really great job of discussing the poems, and I chimed in at various points. And I think, some of these poems you were talking about or reading a month ago, so it might be really helpful for you to remember what you said about it and what other people said about it. There are so many things that are challenging about taking classes online, but one silver lining is you have all our class discussions right here at your fingertips, and you should take advantage of that as you think about what to write about. A couple other things I wanted to mention. I was reading through journal entries last night, and just a reminder, mistress, the way it's used in To His Coy Mistress and My Mistress's Eyes Are Nothing Like the Sun. These days, mistress means a woman that a man is cheating with on his wife, or cheating on his wife with. But back in Shakespeare's time and in Marvel's time, it just meant like my girlfriend, my lover, my beloved. So I just thought I'd mention that. I also want to remind you, I think you guys, most of you know this now, but remember, To His Coy Mistress is a persona poem. So that's the poem where the guy's trying to get the woman into bed. Remember, the speaker is not the poet. And so as you think about the view of sex in that, To His Coy Mistress would work well for the death paper or the sex paper, because the speaker has really specific views of sex and death. But you want to be careful not to say Marvel believes or Marvel views sex this way, but the speaker. And some of you brought that up in the discussion, which was great. Same thing with The Man in a Case. The last question in the discussion about The Man in a Case is about how that story could be a cautionary tale. So remember that Chekhov, who wrote the story, and even Birkin, who's the character who tells the story, it's sort of a story within a story, they are not Byelikov. And they are telling us about Byelikov for a reason, but it may not be because they agree with the way he lived his life. So you might think about that as you write about, if you write about that story. Let me see if there's anything else. I jotted down some notes. So somebody was asking me about how to organize this essay. And fortunately, I think you can make a very simple, straightforward organization, which is just to have one supporting section each for the 3 works you describe. So write a supporting section about the view of sex in The Expensive Spirit and A Waste of Shame, a supporting section about the view of sex in I Would Like to Go Back as I Am Now, and a supporting section about the view of sex in The Expensive Spirit, To His Coy Mistress. So it's not a compare and contrast essay, but you might, like in your 3rd supporting section, refer back, unlike the speaker in To His Coy Mistress. There's my phone going off. I don't know how to, okay, there we go. Unlike the speaker in To His Coy Mistress, the speaker and I would like to go back, blah, blah, blah. You can do some of that, but it's not strictly a compare and contrast paper. What you do want to do is think about what is the specific view of sex in that poem. And in your discussion of The Expensive Spirit and A Waste of Shame, by the way, you all really got it, that he was sort of saying, lust leads us in so many terrible places. We're just, it puts us on this cycle of like pursuing and getting, feeling ashamed. So you can construct a topic sentence that makes that claim, and then use details and examples from the poem to back up your claim. If you were writing about, I would like to go back as I am now, you might think about how the view of sex in that poem is very different. We didn't quite get to this in the discussion, but at the end of that poem ends with a very explicit sexual fantasy. And Beth Ann Fennelly, that's a confessional poem, and it's a love poem to her husband. And at the end of that poem, she's actually fantasizing about performing oral sex on him in that factory that he worked at when he was in his 20s or whatever. So it's this pretty explicit sexual moment in the poem. And you might think about how the feeling behind that sex or sexual act is different than the feeling behind the sex in To His Coy Mistress or The Expensive Spirit and A Waste of Shame. Do you think she's going to feel shamed and terrible after she, having that fantasy about her husband? Or is sex in her poem different? Does it have a different feeling than sex in The Expensive Spirit or in To His Coy Mistress? So those are things to think about. So your topic sentences should make specific claims, and it might be much easier to write your topic sentences in your thesis after you've written about the details and examples in the poem. And that Khan Academy video gives you a great illustration of what to look for as you choose your details and examples that will most powerfully support your topic sentences. So as always, I'm happy to look at outlines. I'm happy to look at rough drafts. I'm happy to just talk with you about the poems. If people want to get together and discuss, 3 poems about sex or 3 poems about death, we can get together on Zoom and do that. Just let me know what you need. But I wanted you to let you know about these resources, and I hope you will take advantage of them. And I hope the little tips and pointers I gave here were helpful.